Before we begin our meeting this evening, we have a proclamation of Early Childhood Educators Week 2024. Whereas the Association of Early Childhood Educators of Newfoundland and Labrador represents those working in childcare and related fields throughout the province. And whereas early childhood educators provide developmentally appropriate care and education to children from birth to age 12 in a variety of settings, and whereas such care and education fosters the social, emotional, cognitive, and physical growth and development of these children, and supports families in a variety of ways, and whereas this support of children and families ensures the future health of our society, therefore, I hereby proclaim the week of May the 26th to June the 1st, 2024, as Provincial Early Childhood Educators Week. So just a comment. We all recognize early childhood educators for the valuable service they provide to our parents and children. They are the ones to whom we entrust our most valuable resource, that is our children. They provide a safe, happy, and secure place and help to form a foundation for their future. We are fortunate to have 2 daycares in our community, but as we all know, there is still a need for more and something we should address as we work through our strategic plan. Are there any more comments? So now, welcome to our regular meeting of May the 28th, 2024. You have the agenda before you, so I will now ask for a mover and a seconder. Moved by Councillor Bruce King and Councillor Mabel Tilley. And at this point, I would like to acknowledge Steve Windsor, Councillor Steve Windsor on the phone, and Mayor Gubby, Councillor Woodford, and Councillor Crawley send their regrets. So all in favor of the minutes of the motion, our agenda? Motion approved. Now, in our last meeting package, everyone received the minutes of our meeting of April the 30th, 2024. Are there any errors or omissions? If not, we'll move on. Any business arising from the minutes? No? Okay, we'll move on to correspondence. We have a letter from Municipal Affairs. It's a letter of approval for our multi-year capital works program, and the motion will be done when we do infrastructure and public works. And now we'll move on to Councillor Windsor for Planning and Development. He will give us an update first, and then he has some motions to be approved. Councillor Windsor.
Hi folks, let's just do a quick sound check. Does that sound good? I'm joining you by telephone and you all look great. You look wonderful too, Steve. Okay, well I'll carry on with the update from Planning and Development Committee meeting which met on May 15th. As the CAO mentioned, Deputy Mayor is absent. At that meeting we reviewed several applications that are coming forward into this meeting that were discussed at the committee level and are recommended for approval. These applications are all in compliance with our town regulations. There are a few things we discussed also at the meeting around challenges between landowners and developers and situations where the town would not get involved in matters that are truly between the property owners and developers. At the meeting, we also had a discussion on fencing and retaining walls and the regulations of these items. We also discussed at that meeting The draft quarry development documentation, which is being circulated for review, and for everyone's information, that largely references provincial regulation and authority. We also discussed, some Crown land matters, specifically one in particular around in our support of a referral for the Rod and Gun Club. There's also a permit listing, some 23 permits, and those that are the run-of-the-mill type of activities like new fences, general repairs, garages, a greenhouse, wood cutting, paved driveway, occupancy, things of those nature. So that's a summary of the meeting at the committee on May 15th. Nothing out of the ordinary to bring forward, and if everyone is okay with me proceeding, I'll carry on and read their motions. There are 5 motions, and I can get into that. Is there any questions?
No, you're good.
Okay, so I'll read the motions now. Thank you. First, we'll do the permit listing, which is attached to the meeting agenda. Be it resolved, the table and approve the attached permit listing. 23 permits were issued from April 26th to May 23rd. Permit numbers 04-0021-24 to 05-0043-24, and includes permits for block wall, fence, general repairs, accessory building, residential occupancy, wood cutting, and driveway paving. So moved.
Moved by Councillor Windsor. Seconder? Councillor Tilley. Any discussion? All in favour?
Aye.
Approved.
Okay, thank you. I'll proceed to the next motion. Location is 25 Highland Park. It's a home-based business childcare. The zoning is RMD. Be it resolved to approve the above application in principle, subject to the town's municipal plan and development regulations. This application was advertised in accordance with Regulation 10 and 90, and no comments were received by the deadline date. Quick comment from myself here. Childcare is highly desirable and sought after right now. We're very happy to see this home-based business come to the area. In terms of visitors and traffic to that particular street that was reviewed, it is minimal, so there are no issues from our perspective at the committee. So moved.
Moved by Councillor Windsor. Could I have a seconder, please? Seconded by Councillor King. Comments? All in favour?
Aye.
Next one? It's approved.
Approved. Okay, thank you. I can't see all the hands going up, so I'll just wait to CAO when I hear your acknowledgement there. I'll carry on. Okay, the next one, D on your agenda, location 152 to 166 Liam Hickey Drive. Proposals for office storage and equipment maintenance, and the zoning is IG. Be it resolved to approve the above application in principle, subject to the town's municipal plan and development regulations. So moved.
Moved by Councillor Windsor. Could we have a seconder, please? Councillor King. Comments? If not, all in favour?
Aye.
Motion approved.
Okay. Moving on to E, location 23 Harbour View Drive. The proposal is residential and the zoning is RMD. Be it resolved to approve the above application in principle, subject to town's municipal plan and development regulations. So moved.
Moved by Councillor Windsor. Seconder? Councillor Tilley. Comments? If not, motion approved.
Okay. Moving on to F. Location is 29 Green Acres. Proposal is residential. The zoning is RMD. Be it resolved to approve the above application subject to a reduced frontage from 23 meters to 22.86 meters in principle, subject to the town's municipal plan and development regulations. A variance notice was distributed to properties in the immediate area and no comments were received by the deadline date. So moved.
Moved by Councillor Windsor, a seconder, Councillor King. Comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion approved.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to the last one, G on your agenda. Location, Rod and Gun Club on the Trans-Canada Highway. Proposal is a Crown Land referral and the zoning is RMD. Be it resolved to approve the above referral in principle, subject to the town's municipal plan development regulations. So moved.
Moved by Councillor Windsor, seconded by Councillor King. Comments? Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. All okay.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair.
And now we'll call on Councillor Tilley for an update for recreation and community events.
Okay, well, our committee met last week. Can you hear me now? Okay, sorry about that. Our committee met last week. The exact date I can't remember off the top of my head. But we did have a great discussion. Some of the things that came out of our meeting that we had, just to highlight the important aspects of them all, and again break down everything that we have discussed. Our Camp Ahoy registration was a great success again this year. We have most of the week sold out with a maximum of 60 kids. They still have a couple of weeks that have some openings, but we've taken it down offline due to the very low amount of numbers that we have left to fill. But if you do have anybody out there that still needs a spot on a certain week, you can contact Kyle directly by email and he can help you out just to let you know if any of the spots are still available. Our soccer registration also can't come to a close with 98 kids registered. That is a phenomenal amount of kids for a community of our size to be participating in soccer, which is a great sport, getting you out running around. I would like to take the time, though, to give a little hats off to Tim Hortons for continuously supporting our program. Like for the kids that are 8 and under in all their programs, Tim Hortons still supply jerseys, shorts, socks, and soccer balls and medals at the end of the year. That's great for any families out there that can need any support they can, especially for getting in sports. That's great to get the kids outside. As everyone knows, outside is my true compassion. Community garden, another great aspect that we have here in the town. The community garden, all the beds are now rented for the year. Public Works have been hard at work getting the planters all ready. All we need now is to continue with the warm weather and some sunshine and no frost like we had this morning, and hopefully we'll be able to get our garden grown nicely. Squidfest, I know Kyle and his team have been working very hard with Squidfest, trying to make sure that this year everything is very safe and enjoyable for all members, all community that attends. Again, all the details are still getting worked out. They're still being ironed out to make sure everything was done correctly. We will have a full schedule out by the end of June, so keep an eye on social media, our town's website for any updates on that. As summer approaches, of course, we do get into summer employment. The town has started to look at hiring some summer students. The interviews are taking place this week and the next week, I do believe. So we look forward to hearing how they make out with the new summer staff, and we look forward to seeing them out about in our community events and in our parks and playgrounds. Other than that, I think that's it. Do anyone have any questions or anything regarding? Okay, perfect.
Thank you, Councillor Tilley. And now, Steve, you're up again. Councillor Windsor, Infrastructure and Public Works update and motions.
Okay, back again, and thank you, Councillor Tilley, for that great update. We should have had a motion for more good weather, as you mentioned. All right, folks, I'll give you an update on our Infrastructure Public Works Committee meeting that was held on May 16th. And then there are 4 motions to read. At the meeting, we discussed a number of topics, and I'll try to summarize them as concisely as possible. The main beach lift station, and you might recall the previous meeting where we talked about the failure and quick intervention of replacement pump. What we talked about there was submitting a gas tax application for a new pump, a new critical spare, and that is the subject of the motion, which I'll get to shortly. We talked about a number of RFQs that are in various stages, some in development, some are out with responses back and ready for award. For example, Garden Road paving was the RFQ we agreed to develop. Line painting RFQ went out on May 17th. The culvert RFQ was issued with responses due back on, well, they're due back on the 24th, so we have them now. And Kiley's Lane infrastructure upgrades was agreed to move forward through an RFQ. We also talked about the street sweeping program, was to commence May 21st. You may see some of that activity has happened. Also talked about the wood cutting soccer field lottery. That'd be the area at the rear of the field. It's time for that to get cleaned up now, and residents will have the opportunity to participate in the lottery to avail of some firewood, subject to the town's regulations requirements on that. And we noted that the Hazeldale paving was approved under gas tax funding, which is always welcome. And that covers our update, I guess, from the discussions. In addition to the motions now, which I'll get into, there are 4 motions. 2 motions are around the same subject, which is the community center concept design, and then the gas tax application, as mentioned, for the new critical spare, and then the last one is about property condition of a number of properties that have been identified. We need to encourage some improvement in that area. So I'll get into the motions, the first of which is B on your agenda. This is around the community center, and I'm sure everyone's very anxious to get this moving. Be it resolved, the Town of Holyrood accept the recommendation of Department of Transportation Infrastructure and award the prime consultancy services for the feasibility and concept design of the proposed community center to Lean Architects. There was a limited call for proposals issued by the Department of Transportation Infrastructure to 6 companies who are identified on their list of companies with the expertise for this piece of work. Proposals were sent to the department, who reviewed and selected Lean Architects as the successful bidder. Once the contract is signed, the work of determining feasibility and design will begin. So moved.
Moved by Councillor Windsor. Could I have a seconder, please? Councillor King. Discussion? All in favor? Motion.
Aye.
Motion approved.
Okay, related to that, be it resolved, the Town of Holyrood accept the revised schedule identifying the reallocation of funds to the existing multi-year capital works allocation, which has been approved by the Department of Transportation Infrastructure. The reallocated funds will be used to fund the concept design and feasibility of the community center project. The town requested the reallocation of funds which remained in previous multi-year capital works projects that were completed and monies remaining in the budget. So moved.
Moved by Councillor Windsor, seconded by Councillor Tilley. Discussion? If no, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion approved.
Thank you. Moving to the next one, D on your agenda. Be it resolved, the Town of Holyrood submit a gas tax application to purchase a sewer pump. This pump is required to ensure the safe, reliable sewer services to residents using our sewer system. The cost of the pump is $15,838.60, based on the request for quotes and the lowest price being Xylem. So moved.
Moved by Councillor Windsor, seconded by Councillor King. Discussion? If not, all in favor? Motion
Aye.
approved.
Okay, and last but not least is E, and I think this is important. You know, you drive around the town, and there was one time when Holyrood won a Toddy Towns Awards, and I cannot imagine that happening in the current state. We want to work with residents. We want to work with our businesses. We want to work together to have a town that everybody is proud of. So the motion is to get the agreement of council to proceed with sending letters to certain property owners that have been identified through various means, not just ourselves. Won't get into that, how, but been reported and commented on and through various sources. It really does need some improvement. And, we really do want to move that forward and have a beautiful town and maybe one day be a contender for a Toddy Town Award once again. I'll read the motion. Be it resolved, the Town of Holyrood issue letters to residents with dilapidated, unsightly properties, asking that they give attention to improving the appearance of their property and remove unsightly debris and other objects for both aesthetic and also safety reasons. So moved.
Moved by Councillor Windsor, seconder, Councillor King. Discussion. Councillor King.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Absolutely, I totally agree with Councillor Windsor. I mean, because in this day and age, with all the different events we have with regards to garbage and taking it away and stuff like that, it also is the fact that, if you live next to me and you got old cars there and old wrecks and garbage and stuff like that, well, not only is it affecting your property, but it's also affecting the value of my property and the property next to it and stuff like that. And with all the different resources that we have today, there's absolutely no excuse for garbage. And I know there's a lot of it on social media about people throwing it out right next to a 45-gallon drum garbage can, right? And I know in some of the cases, yes, the birds do get into the garbage can and they flick it out. But, and the other part of it is, it's not always, people seem to always direct their things to the teenagers and the kids. It's not always the teenagers and the kids. A lot of the people that are tossing stuff out the window are people who own enough to have a driver's license, so they're not kids, right? And I've seen it myself where people have rolled down the window right next to a garbage can and flicked it out and off they went. So absolutely, I concur, and hopefully after they get the letter, they will look out the window and look at it and say, okay, maybe they're right and I need to clean this up. And that would be great if it happens. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor King. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor of the motion?
Aye.
All in favor, motion approved. And now we go on.
Thank you, Council and Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Windsor. Now we go on to Councillor King for an update on public safety.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I just got to say, that chair looks very becoming of you. just a point. Thank you very much. Our Public Safety Committee, we met on May 14th. Those people in attendance was our CAO, Marjorie Gibbons, our Fire Chief, Leslie Kenny, Councillor Mabel Tilley, and myself. And a few points that we discussed. The first one being speed bump placement. And there's been a lot of talk over the past few days with regards to, actually one will run into the other, is speeding on town roads and stuff like that. So we're in the process of putting those speed bumps out. So if you feel as a resident that your street needs to be looked at in the terms of people speeding back and forth, then by all means bring it forward to council, bring it forward to the town, and we will see what we can do. There is a limited number of speed bumps that can go around. And what we will do, the town staff, Public Works, will look at it and prioritize it in a list of which streets are the most vulnerable. And the other thing is to, if you see people speeding, pick up the phone and call the RCMP. Okay? And if you can get their license plate number or your description, that's even better. Okay? So we are working on placement of speed bumps. And if you feel that your street deserves a speed bump, then by all means, make your feelings known to the town office. The other point that we discussed was ATVs and dirt bikes and stuff like that. There's been a lot of talk lately on kids and stuff speeding on dirt bikes and stuff like that. Lots of complaints on social media. One complaint was brought to our CAO, okay, and that is being addressed. Concerns should be put in writing and forwarded to the town, and then the town will forward it to the RCMP, and hopefully the RCMP will be able to do something about it. If complaints come into the town, you can ask the RCMP to increase patrols and stuff like that. The problem is if an RCMP officer is in a car and you're on a dirt bike or you're on an ATV, there's very little that the RCMP officer can do for obvious reasons. And most of the time, the RCMP, because of safety concerns, will not pursue a person for obvious reasons as well, for safety. But, you know, a lot of the times people blame it on the kids again. But I know for me personally, I own an ATV, and I also walk on the trailway, and I can honestly say that I have never met anybody for the whole 23 years that I've been here in Holyrood that was belligerent or sped past me. They've always showed respect. They've slowed down, and once they've passed you, they've increased speed and went on. So I personally have never had any bad experiences with people either on ATVs or on dirt bikes. We discussed the junior firefighter program. That program is well on its way, and we should be able to have some news on that in the very near future with the hope of starting the program probably in September. And so I think kids out there, I think it's going to be a fantastic idea. It's going to be great for the fire department. It's going to be great for recruiting. It's great for the kids and stuff to get them to do stuff that's really enjoyable. And at this time, I will turn it over to Councillor Tilley, and Councillor Tilley can close the loop.
Thank you, Councillor King.
Thank you, Councillor. I'm not sure if there's much loop to close. You covered it all quite well. I did want to also speak about the ATV and dirt bikes. I also, however, don't have 20 years here in the community walking the track, but pretty much every day I'm down on the track. I did notice that the amount of people have increased with the amount of ATVs, and from what I've seen, it's been a wonderful experience. I've seen the station diner has been booming with ATVs. The tourists have been there on the beach with their picnics. ATVing has become a huge tourist attraction throughout the province, and Holyrood with our beach and our whale making star visits every now and then has brought a big cluster of people around lately. I hope that we're not having one bad apple spoiling a bunch, but unfortunately there is always the one person that's not obeying by rules and regulations. But 99.9% that I've seen have been families out for a drive, out for a picnic, out for passed away the afternoon. I did also want to just pass along the public safety park, as where I just spoke about the whale has been out. The amount of traffic and people that are gathering down on our boardwalk, which is absolutely phenomenal to see the amount of people out. But just keep in mind for residents who are driving by, just watch out for kids that are running, dogs that are running, that bolts out of cars, people who are backing up that are not really sure where they're supposed to be going. So I guess a public safety notice would be, please don't be looking for the whale, look for the people who are actually stopped and they're in the parking lot. But other than that, get out and enjoy the nice sunshine.
Thank you, Councillor Tilly. And now, Councillor King, you're up again for Corporate Services and Administration.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Corporate Services had our meeting on May 23rd. Those in attendance was Councillor Crowley, our CAO, Ms. Gibbons, Director of Finance, Ms. Cyril, and myself. We went through a few of the points and concerns. Financial update. Update on taxes received as of May 23rd. Current residential tax payments received is at 68%, which is really good. This is more than half compliance within the first 5 months, and we expect this to improve even greater by the end of August, when residents opting for the 8-month payment will have completed their transaction. So everything is good. Current water and sewer tax payments received is at 60%. Current business tax payments received is at 73%, and the current fire service fees received is at 90%. So that's really, really good. Assessments for 2025. The Municipal Assessment Agency has informed everybody that the residents they'll be going in the mail as of the 3rd of June of this year. Okay? And the other thing with regards to the municipal assessments, I know as soon as people get it, the first thing, the town is raising the taxes, the town is doing this, and the town is doing... The town has absolutely nothing to do with the municipal assessment. That is a completely independent organization on their own, and we get the information back from them. We don't give them any type of information, they give it to us, okay? So if you get your assessment, it's clearly marked on your assessment what you have to do. If you read your assessment and you're not happy with, well, I'm sure if your assessment went down, you're going to be happy with it. But if your assessment went up, you're not going, if you decide that you want to appeal it, there's steps. The first thing you should do is you should read the form when the deadline is to have your appeal in. And from there, you have to have a logical, viable reason for an appeal. You just can't say, I don't agree with it, because if you say that, it ain't going to go anywhere, okay? So have a look at it, read it, and the first thing you do before you even appeal, pick up the phone, call the assessment agency, ask them a question, because based on the briefing that we had received, 90% of the issues are resolved after the phone call, right? After the phone call, there is no requirement because they explain it to you. And the other thing people need to look at as well, Municipal Assessment Agency has a course that you can take. There's 3 modules to it. Each module takes about maybe 20 to 30 minutes, and you get a certificate. Every module you complete, they give you a certificate. Okay, but it also is not as much about the certificate. It's the understanding of how the Municipal Assessment Agency works, and how it's completely independent of council. Okay, so if you have questions and concerns when you get your assessment, then by all means contact the agency and address your concerns through them. Thank you, Madam Chair.
You got some motions?
For this one. You're right on the ball tonight. Can't get nothing past you. Anyway, under corporate services, we have a couple of motions that we're going to go through. The first motion is a code of conduct. On May 4th, 2024, the CAO received a complaint under the code of conduct. A report was prepared and presented to council as file COC number 2024-001 for the review and consideration at a privileged meeting on the 14th of May 2024. Council recommended the complaint to be dismissed. Okay, so be it resolved, the Town of Holyrood dismissed the complaint filed under the Town of Holyrood Code of Conduct after considering the report presented to council in a privileged council meeting May 14th, 2024. So moved.
Moved by Councillor King, seconded by Councillor Tilley. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion approved. And you're still not clear.
Okay, we need more people here. Under accounts, be it resolved, those accounts tabled in the amount of $1,551, $831.26, check number 45875-45946, and D 4012-94055 be approved for payment from general accounts. So moved.
Moved by Councillor King, seconded by Councillor Tilley. Discussion? If there are none, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion approved. Do we have a bank book balance?
Madam Chair, we're broke.
No, we're not.
No, we're not. Our bank book balance presently is $127,558.60.
Which is a healthy balance in our.
It's a very healthy balance, for sure. Thank you.
And now we'll go on to new business. So we do the go-around, as Mayor Guppy would say. Councillor King.
Thank you again, Madam Chair. The first one, I just have 2 points. The first one is Run the Rock. And I'm just going to give everybody a little bit of a history on it first. This year will be the 29th year of Run the Rock by HMCS St. John's. Okay? This year it will be from the 5th of July to the 17th. So far, HMCS St. John's has raised over $1.8 million in the past 29 years, so a fantastic accomplishment. So far, they have granted over 180 wishes to children with critical illnesses here in Newfoundland and Labrador. Whatever money HMCS St. John's raises from Run the Rock stays right here. And they start in Port-aux-Basques, and there's 16 of them. They run in relays, and they finish off in Conception Bay South. Okay, so it's over 900 kilometers. They have approximately 55 wishes in waiting right now to try to address, and this year they're hoping to be able to do 10 more. Okay, and as I've said, there's a 16-person team, and they run in relays, and the Town of Holyrood will host them on the 15th of July, and we're hoping to have it in the IBEW building, and between actually 5 and 6 o'clock in the evening. So we want to encourage, it is going to be open to the public. We want to encourage schools, because I've already passed the information along to Councillor Crowley. We want to involve the schools, we want to involve businesses, we want to involve groups and the public. So if you want to start now collecting or doing little fundraisers, and then that evening of the 15th up at the IEBW building or wherever it's going to be, we will definitely update it. And then you can present it to the team, because the entire team will be there at that time. So I think it's a great opportunity to show the support. And one of the things that the lady did say, who looks after the Newfoundland chapter for Make-A-Wish, Holyrood has always been a fantastic place for them to stop, and the people here have always been very, very generous. So more to follow on that one. And the last one I want to talk about, and I'm sure everybody probably watched it on Saturday, is the repatriation of the Royal Newfoundland Regiment soldier. Okay? And being a former member of the regiment, I would encourage people on the 28th and 30th of June go to the Confederation building to pay your respects. Okay, it's a part of history, and people should be part of history. And then if you can, also July 1st, when the interment is back at the War Memorial, I would encourage people to attend as well, because I definitely will be there. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor King. Councillor Tilley? Very good. And I just want to comment that before our next meeting, oh, sorry, Councillor Windsor, I forgot you were there. That's up to you next.
Oh, you're giving me the chance to say something now, are you?
Yes, I will.
No, I think I've said enough earlier in the committee updates and motions, and the only thing I was going to mention was exactly what Councillor King mentioned in regards to repatriation of our unknown son who made the ultimate sacrifice. I think this is wonderful, and I don't want to repeat any of what he said, but it's great. Let's get out there on June 28th, 29th, pay respects, and on July 1st as well. Thank you very much, Council and Madam Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Windsor. I just want to make a comment and say that before we have our next meeting, our school will be closed, and our children are going to be on the street, whether they're crossing the street, riding a bike, or sometimes even playing in the street, and we should ask our drivers to be particularly vigilant as they drive on our roads. So that's it for me. So the date of our next meeting is June the 25th, 2024 at 6 p.m. Could I have a motion for adjournment? Councillor King, moved, seconded by Councillor Tilley. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.